regular meeting of the City Council will now come to order. Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
I'm going to wait until it's quiet.
No, that's good.
Excuse me, folks. The meeting will now come to order. Please be quiet. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Capone.
Here.
Councilor Della Sola.
Here.
Councilor DeFlorio. Yeah. Councilor Hanlon.
Here.
Councilor Matusky. Here. Councilor McKinnon.
Here.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Here.
Councilor Napolitano.
Here.
Councilor Sani.
Here.
Councilor Simonelli. And President DePiero.
Here.
11 members present. You do have a quorum.
Will the audience please join us in saluting the flag? Please remain standing for one moment, folks. As a lot of you know, the city suffered a loss over the last few days of Brett Mayo, whose mother, Mary Ann, serves as an office aide in the mayor's office, and the Mayo family has long roots in the city of Everett, so if we can give them a moment of silence, thank you.
Item number 1, Mr. President, is a public hearing to all parties interested in the petition from Light Tower Fiber Networks LLC to lay and maintain underground conduits and manholes with wires and cables to be placed therein under the surface of the following public way or ways as requested in the petition, which would be 100 Broadway.
Is the petitioner present? Please step forward. Yes. If you could just please state your name for the record.
Frederick York.
And if you wouldn't mind just explaining the petition before any questions are asked.
Okay. We're placing conduit to feed the Honda dealership at 100 Broadway for a high-speed internet service from the electric manhole to existing conduit that we've already placed on the private property.
Councilor McLaughlin?
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, how long of a project is this that you guys are expecting?
It should be probably a couple nights. We've worked on Broadway before, and the city wants us to work at night, so it's going to be a couple nights.
That was my question. You'll do this work at nighttime and not during the day?
The traffic is unbelievable during the day,
Yeah.
so we ran some conduit earlier over to the casino, and Julius, the DPW director, wanted us to do it at night. And, we meet all the city specifications with flow fill and the final restoration and everything. So
Great. I'm happy to hear it will be night work. Thank you.
Any other questions, councilors? Councilor Matusky?
Thank you, Mr. President. I didn't catch your name, sir.
Frederick York.
Mr. York, it's at 100 Broadway, so that is near,
Mike's Roast Beef,
right next to, okay.
across the street.
There's that intersection where McDonald's is
Correct.
a very, very tough, if somebody's taking a left coming into Everett, or taking a left going on Beecham Street, it's a very difficult area. So you're going to do this at nighttime?
Correct.
And what will those hours be, roughly? Midnight?
Probably 8 to 4.
8 to 4 in the morning, okay,
Correct.
well, that works, okay, because the police can only do so much.
Right.
But in the morning, as you said, it's like the Bermuda Triangle
Yeah,
down there, so,
yeah.
okay,
It's unbelievable.
good. I'm glad you're doing the right time, the work at the right time.
Okay.
We appreciate that, thank you.
It's easier for us also.
Is there a motion to open the public hearing? Motion made and seconded to excuse, I guess, for the customary things. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Just stay in the audience until the vote's taken, please.
Push it again.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to open the public hearing. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Public hearing is now open. I will ask 3 times if anyone in the audience is in favor of this petition. Then I will do the same if anyone is opposed to it. So is anyone in the audience in favor of this petition Is anyone in the audience in favor of this petition? Is anybody in favor? That portion is over. I'm going to ask 3 times if anyone is opposed. Anyone in the audience opposed to this petition? Anybody opposed to this petition? Anybody opposed to this petition? Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion made and seconded for favorable action on the order. Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Counselor Capone.
Yes.
Counselor Della Sola.
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon.
Yes.
Counselor Matusky.
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano.
Yes.
Counselor Sani.
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli. President DePiero.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President. You have passed the order.
Order has passed. Item number 2.
Item number 2, Mr. President, is an order to all parties interested in the petition from Mobility LLC to attach backhaul transport equipment to an existing utility pole in the right-of-way located on Everett Avenue.
Mr. Petitioner present?
She is.
Hi, please come forward and state your name for the record.
Okay. Good evening. I'll start again. My name is Rosanna Ferranti. I'm with Mobility, and I believe that we had visited the council many months back in the fall with a program that was not acceptable. So we went back and we've worked hard to find one that might be more appropriate for the city of Everett. So I'm here before you tonight to discuss that proposal.
Councilor DeFlorio?
Can you explain what your company is doing and why this is needed?
Sure. So Mobility is basically a company that wireless carriers can hire to go and build out their network to help assist with what is existing coverage. So right now, Sprint in particular is our client here, and there's a lot of data usage in this particular area where we're proposing to add a small cell, which I have here photos of what that would look like, which is over on Everett Avenue in front of the Kentucky Fried Chicken. And so basically, it offloads an existing location. So for instance, Sprint already has 2 existing locations in Everett, one on 651 Broadway, and then there's one other one. I'm neglecting to remember the address. But essentially, this particular site, a small cell site, offloads and connects to those existing to help with the data. So it's less about voice and more about the data usage that's happening, and so that customers can have that seamless coverage that all of us know we want before we throw our phones out the window when they don't work. So that's why we're here. There's a demand. There is one other location that we are looking to develop here in Everett. So I also have that in here with this material that you can take a look at. But I definitely sent the message very loud and clear to the company that we need to focus on commercial areas, so you will not find these in residential.
So do you find that because people are getting more cell phones, this is the issue, that you really need that data for the people to use?
So it's twofold. So you have the number of people who use the cell phones, but then you also have the number of people who use cell phones, tablets, right? All that Wi-Fi, internet connectivity. And then we also have 5G that's coming, which all of you have heard rumblings about in the next couple years. We're going to see an explosion of all kinds of other data dependent applications, whether it be public safety or whether it be with the automatic cars, the drivers, all that. So there's a lot coming, and so all the carriers are really trying to get a handle on this and be prepared for the data usage.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Councilor Capone?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Through you to our invited guest. First, I'd like to thank you for forwarding information and reaching out to discuss the project. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to actually talk about it, but I did look at the paperwork that you had sent. The one thing I couldn't tell from the paperwork, though, was the size of the unit, exactly where it's
Sure.
placed.
So that's perfect timing. So let me
Okay.
go ahead and pass this out to everybody. This shows you a photo simulation of how it will look. And so basically, the antenna is 3 feet. The pole is 33 feet. It's owned by National Grid and Verizon, and we're in the process right now. Oh, I'll go this way. So the way it works is that the utility companies are required to allow us to co-locate on these poles. And so right now, they're evaluating our application for feasibility on the pole.
Is that it on the top of the pole?
Yes.
Okay, and that, would you say is about 3 feet?
3 feet.
Okay, and is that the entirety of the
So
unit?
there's a couple other pieces of equipment on the pole. So further down at about 15 to 17 feet, you'll see, oh, one more, sorry.
Yeah,
You'll see
the gray box over the...
there's a little box, yeah.
Okay.
And if you look in the plans, you can see in more detail what the equipment looks like, but there isn't anything on the ground.
And is that, there's one below the bus sign too, is that part of that or no?
There's 3 pieces essentially. There's the, it's called a UE relay, and then there's the power, let me see. I think I don't have another copy of the photo sim, or it's right here, let me.
It looks like there's something strapped to the pole, maybe
Correct.
about a foot below the bus sign?
No, that I don't think is us.
Okay. Because that has a pipe going into the ground. So,
Right.
so that's not you, but the one above the bus stop sign is you,
Correct,
and the one on the top.
correct.
And you said that there's a third piece?
So there's, if, I don't know if everyone has a set of the plans. It'll detail exactly all the pieces. It's in your packet that I sent.
Yep.
If you wanted to look, it's a couple pages. And it points out all the pieces.
Okay. It looks like there's the wire that cuts across. Is there something there? Where the wire cuts across, is there something there, or is that not it?
It's where there's the street light
Yep.
and the utility line.
Okay. I see the one over the street light. I see the relay. And then there's a radio.
Then the radio head, yep. And then there's the distribution box.
Okay, so those are the only 3 pieces that your company
Those are
would
the
be putting
primary,
on there?
yes.
Okay.
And like I said, National Grid and Verizon evaluate our application for feasibility on the pole.
Okay. So I'm looking at this, the weatherhead. Is that a separate piece or no? Is that all part of the box? 'Cause
Other head
that's,
for new overhead utility. Well, that will probably, yes, that'll be part of our installation because we'll use overhead power. So we avoid trenching here.
okay,
So power's overhead.
all right. So you've got the piece on the very top, the omnidirectional antenna.
Yes, that's the major
Okay.
piece.
I guess the easiest thing to do is work our way down the pole. So you got that. Then the next piece is the weatherhead.
Yes,
Then the power conduit. Is that, what is that, just a cable or?
it's per code. It's what will be required by the utility company.
Okay. And then you've got an RF filter attached through a bolt. What is that?
I'm assuming, I could get detail on exactly what the RF filter does, but it's
Okay.
related to the antenna at the top.
Okay, then we have the relay,
Yes,
and then you've got the GPS antenna, and then below that, the radio.
yeah.
AC power. Sign, what's the sign?
So the sign is basically, it's required by OSHA, and it basically says that if there's, like a warning that not to go right next to
Was
the
that,
antenna.
was that very scary sign?
Yeah,
last
the
time?
one that was
Okay.
like this big in the
Yeah.
plans, yeah. We said, really? It's not even that big in real life.
Okay.
So why are we showing it that big in plans?
And how high is that sign?
That's further
Off
up,
the
that's
ground?
over 15 feet high.
That's
Yeah,
over
that's
15
not where
feet.
the pedestrians, and that's really so for instance, because this is a street light, if there was a light technician that needed to go up there, they would call the number to say, hey, we need to do maintenance, and then we would turn off the antenna.
Okay, so
So there's a
the,
process for that.
so the lowest piece of equipment is at least 15 feet in the air?
Correct.
Okay, so the only question I'm left with, and if you could get it for us for the future, I'd appreciate it, would be what exactly the RF filter does.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Yeah,
wonderful.
no one's asked that,
And-
so I will
and-
definitely.
And thank you. Thank you very much for providing everything. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm all set.
You're welcome, Counselor. Counselor Delasola.
Good evening. I just have a couple of questions. You came before us earlier in the year, and your plan was to put this on Ferry Street, down where the homes are and all that stuff.
We killed it.
Right. And
Yes.
this is going to work on Everett Ave and in the industrial part of Everett, it's going down, is this where it's going to go now?
Yes, this is the new location. So we removed that location because we heard the feedback.
Correct.
That wasn't acceptable. So we went back and said, look, if we want to be in Everett, we need to focus on commercial areas. So this is what we came back with.
And you want to put it here in this pole?
Correct.
That's not there now.
No. That's just the photo simulation to show you
Correct.
what it would look like.
Is there anywhere else in Everett you're looking to put something like this
Yes, in your
again?
materials, in the back, there is one additional site. That's off of Ferry Street, but this, I was told, was not residential.
Central and Ferry. Yeah, I think that's where Napolitano was right here, isn't he?
Yeah, that's residential.
You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of
That's-
demand where the residents live for this. But again,
Right here, I think,
we're working hard to accommodate where you guys would like to see them or not see them.
There is, it is residential, the way I would look at it. Right there on the left of that green dot is the gas station?
Right. But it's not in front of a house.
Correct.
Counselor,
I think
just
the
to,
last time we were in front of
just
a
to
house.
remind you, right now, we're only discussing the original
Location,
proposal,
Kentucky
yes.
Fried Chicken area?
That's the only thing before us right now.
Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to give them visibility as to what we were thinking of.
And how long would this take, this process? To install this in
A day.
a day?
It's very quick. As you can tell, it's minimal
Correct.
installation. And then the maintenance is a couple hours if we have to go out and do anything to the pool. We would go back, the process that the city has, if it's DPW or so forth, to get it, if we had to, we'd show our traffic plan as to how we would access the site, and then get whatever permits we would need.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Counselor McKinnon?
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to our guest. There was a hazardous sign that was supposed to be on this. That's going to be 15 feet in the air now?
That's up, yeah, that's the sign we were speaking about earlier the
Okay.
morning, for the technicians.
All right, so you're going to move the sign up. That was supposed to be originally, on the last plan, it was supposed to be down eye level to people that were walking by and stuff like that. Why was that?
I don't know why that was, I don't know why that was, but it's for the people who are at the top working on the pole,
Okay.
so,
And
not for the pedestrians.
there was a medical request, like on megahertz and all that stuff, that was supposed to be coming forward. Did any of that
So I do
stuff-
have an emissions report I can provide to the council. So the FCC regulates all this stuff, right? And so we are at 2 to 5% of even what is acceptable to them. So we are so low, these small cell antennas, that we are so well below the standard of even their max number of what is acceptable.
Oh, okay. So,
So I do have emissions in general, like the information in terms of what the Federal Communications Commission dictates, and how a small cell is only 2 to 5% of that total number.
so that being said, why do we need a hazard sign up there and then shut it down when a technician's going
OSHA,
up?
it's OSHA. We have,
So
it's
it's OSHA?
OSHA.
Okay. All right. And then the second site that you're looking at, when do you plan on putting that into play? When do you plan on having that come
We're
before us?
still going through the drawings and everything, so it's not prepared yet to submit, but probably over the next 30 or 45 days.
Okay. Because the original drawings that they had, this was like I think a 75-foot pole or something like that.
Oh, we are so gone, we don't do that anymore.
Okay.
So we are
That was- yeah.
focused on attachments right now. And if we were ever proposing a new pole in any part of Massachusetts, it would be 50 feet or less. We are not talking about 75 feet.
All right, thank you.
Counselor Matusky?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Ferranti, it was suggested that to your company the last time your people came up, Mobilite, that you look into tall buildings,
Yeah.
commercial buildings on the Parkway, wherever it may be. Why is it necessary to use a pole rather than,
So everything's coming down, right? Because we're getting closer to the users, and we're trying to deal with the capacity issue. So, for instance, as I mentioned before, this particular pole will offset existing locations that are on buildings or towers or whatever. So this is coming, it's to offload those bigger sites. Those are very big sites.
so you have,
These are small, half-a-mile radius, these are not wide.
you have equipment
range.
already on buildings, is that
Yes,
it?
we have existing locations in Everett now, like full sites,
On private property?
correct. So these offload those.
I appreciate you calling the other day at my home. I appreciate a personal phone call when these matters do arise. Council McKinnon bring up a good point. You know, when anybody sees a sign that says, "Be careful of was it radar?" What do
Yeah,
they
it's in
call
the set
that?
of plans, yes.
But
No,
what
I
is
saw
that?
the sign myself. I totally can
What is the
appreciate-
term there that you use?
wouldn't want to misquote exactly what's in the plans. Yeah, I think there's
Pattis-
a warning.
All right, well, that's scary to me, but I noticed that you do have another proposal. That's not on the agenda, as the council president said. I will be voting against that because that's on Central Ave and it's a residential neighborhood. You know, I'm willing to vote in favor of this tonight, only because you've reached out and you've actually explained, unlike the previous people that came up here. You know, and what are the benefits to the city of Everett besides, do you pay any taxes on what's going on these poles?
No, I don't believe so. I can look into it and see if that is the case. I don't know how, every jurisdiction seems to be set up a little different, so I'm not sure if there's a tax rate that applies to this or not.
Okay, we've had other companies here that attach some really serious equipment on poles. Big things. The poles are leaning over on certain streets because there's so much attached.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's really become a problem here. So, you know, is this going to be a regular occurrence with your company after you, I mean, I know you have another proposal, but we're not going to see you up here every 6 months for
You don't want to see me every 6 months?
Well,
Just kidding.
I'd like
I'm
to
just
see you on
kidding.
a daily
No,
basis,
no,
actually,
no,
but.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, the truth of the matter is,
Well, that's why I'm trying to bring, that's why I brought forward the other location, to say, look, this is what's on our radar screen right now. It's technology. I do not have a crystal ball on technology,
I know, but,
unfortunately.
you
But
know-
that's why I brought it up. That's why I brought the
but the
second
truth of the
one.
matter is, we,
we
you know,
could-
can only put so much
so-
on poles, okay?
No, we can appreciate
I
that.
mean, enough is enough. We've got a lot. The poles are sagging, poles are weighted down with all the cable that's going on, and it's a mess.
And that's why Verizon and National Grid evaluate the poles. And they do not let us go on poles that are about to fall down.
So you don't deal with Comcast or any of them
No,
people?
no.
Or Verizon?
Verizon and National Grid.
You deal with Verizon?
The wireline, the pole.
Because we've had issues with them, as the president knows, on double pole issues. So if you attach something with a double pole, I'm not gonna.
That's why I'm trying to communicate with everybody to get feedback. So for instance, if you already know you have issues with that other location, I will go back tomorrow and say, let's take a look at that second location.
Well,
It's
I
all-
have issues
I'm
with
trying to be collaborative.
That's a nice
Trying to-
neighborhood, and it's not too far from where the previous request was on Ferry Street.
Right, it was in front of a house, so they moved it. But I can go back and have them try to move it again.
Well, I'm willing to vote in favor of this particular site, only because you provided information, and it is in a commercial area, and there's not too much on that pole right now. But, we really have to look at this. We've been inundated with double poles and so forth. Verizon blames Comcast. Comcast blames National Grid, and it becomes a real serious situation for us.
And just so you know, our company is making great efforts to meet with Eversource and National Grid and those companies to try to get more coordinated on things as well. I have a meeting tomorrow with Eversource. So we are trying to do the right thing.
Thank you very, Councilman Simonelli asked me to ask a question. Is that all right, Mr. President? What was the question? It appeared, the picture of the pole. Now, I know it's a city sidewalk, but, a lot of times, as the councilman was telling me, when you do work on a pole, they leave gravel, they leave the weeds there. It's like they did their thing on the pole and they just walk away from it. If you look at this pole, there's weeds all around it and so forth. Maybe,
Would you like us to clean it up?
I think
We can.
that should be actually, anybody we grant one to the side, anytime people do work to poles, they double poles, they leave a hole in the ground. It becomes a mess. So, yeah, that would be,
If there's anything there to make it neater and clean up, we're more than happy to do that.
that's Councilman Simonelli's request.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Councilor Hanlon? No, I got it. Councilor Sani?
Thank you. Have you reached out with anyone in community development or DPW or the mayor's office at all regarding what you want to come into the city?
We started here.
You started here?
So we started, yes, I've been working with Sergio, and we're trying to, figure out the best way to navigate. Like I said, I know we had a very rough beginning, at the beginning. So I try to come back and, work with the city again and revisit.
I believe something like this, we should have it into a committee and have the different departments come in and, yep, once we decide what to do with this. Thank you.
Is there a motion to excuse our guest?
Excuse customary thanks and open to the public hearing.
Motion made and seconded to excuse our guest for the customary thanks and open the public hearing. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. I'm going to ask 3 times if anyone in the audience is in favor of this petition, and I'm going to do the same if anyone's opposed, just like the last one. Anyone in the audience in favor of this petition? Anyone in favor of the petition? Is anybody in favor of the petition? I'm going to do the same if anyone's opposed. Is anyone in the audience opposed to this petition? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? That portion is concluded. Is there a motion to close the hearing, councilors?
Close the public hearing and favorable action on the order.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing.
We did it, we excused you.
The motion was
Oh,
made.
I'm excused.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
yes.
sorry. I'll go.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
On the piece,
Favorable action on the order.
Councilor Capone?
on the piece, Counselor Sani had started to talk about a committee meeting, and I think that that would be a good idea. I think that the presentation was leaps and bounds ahead of what we had last time. I think that they did, in fact, listen to some of the concerns that we had. There's a couple of questions that do remain. There's a piece on the poll that we still don't know exactly what its function is. And I do have some questions with regards to compensation to the city. The individual, the poll here, they don't own the poll. And I'm gonna guess that they're paying some sort of a fee to be on the poll, because I'm sure it's not charity, it's business. And I think that there should be something that if the city is going to have it there and it's going to be maintained, and we need to keep an eye on it, it's going to cost the city money to make sure that it's always up to code. So I would refer this to Business Community Development, I think might be the right one. Invite the sponsor, invite someone from the mayor's office, somebody from Community Development, somebody from DPW, and someone from the solicitor's office. And I don't know if there's anyone else that anyone wants to add to it, but I think that I'm not necessarily opposed to this, but I think that there's still some issues that are going to overlap with those departments that we need to get worked out before we vote favorably on this. Because this is one of the first pieces we are setting a precedent. I think we have to be careful how we proceed into it. So I make that in the form of a
I'll
motion.
second.
You want to invite the petitioner?
Motion made and seconded to send this item to the Committee on Community Development and Small Business with the invited guests that our clerk has taken note of. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 3.
Item number 3, Mr. President, is an order offered by Anthony DePiero as president to all parties interested in the petition from TC Systems, Inc. for proposed conduit placement at Chelsea Street and Vine Street.
Please state your name for the record.
Representing CN Engineering Group, who's representing TC Systems and affiliated AT&T. Our proposal tonight is for a project that would run or install conduit on across Vine Street to 201 Chelsea, and also across the sidewalk from a existing utility pole to an existing fire alarm manhole. That would be about a 10 to 15 foot cut across the sidewalk, and across the street, Vine Street would be about 70 feet of trench.
Councilor Napolitano?
How long is this project going to take?
We anticipate it to be 2 to 3 days, hopefully closer to 2.
Okay. And are you targeting a particular time of the day?
If the council thinks it's the best idea to seek at night, like we heard earlier, that's definitely something that we'd be able to do. We understand that this intersection is a high traffic area, so doing the most impact traffic the least would be our main
daytime, it's heavily trafficked as a route down to Parkway from Chelsea Street. So, yeah, I think if working in the evening would be, more agreeable to the traffic flow, you'd be able to work more efficiently, more safely.
Sure.
Do you have any, are you gonna need a police detail?
Yeah, for the traffic plans that we actually have printed up, we're able to present, there would be a police presence.
That'll be one officer or two? You still working on that?
It hasn't been decided. Let's see, we've got 2 on the plan that I'm looking at.
And this is all underground
Yes,
conduit?
yes.
Okay, so once everything has been, it's been set, picked up, they've covered over, everything will go back clean
Yes.
and neat.
Yes, our plan A is to work strictly in the sidewalk, and any sidewalk panels that would be impacted would be, go back to the way they were before, if not better.
Okay, great. I live a block from there. Sure. So I'll be looking.
All right.
Great. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to our invited guests, thank you very much. So one of the questions was already asked for me. Everything in this project is completely underground?
Everything that we're proposing to do, why we're here is underground.
Okay.
There is going to be cable running from down the pole that already exists.
Okay,
But everything that we're going to be maintaining would be underground.
okay. And how long of a cable is that, and where does it run from what point? Top?
So it would run from, wherever the communication attachment is on the pole. So whether it's, second up or third up, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Down a proposed riser that would run the pole, so that'd be a steel 4-inch pipe running down the pole underground to the closest existing fire alarm manhole.
Okay.
It would go into that manhole,
Okay.
and then there's already existing conduit cutting across Vine Street, already underground, going into 201 Chelsea, which
Okay.
would be our proposed endpoint. So we would only need to install that about 10 to 15 feet of conduit, and then run the cable down to the manhole and run straight through.
Okay.
So
And I apologize if you had mentioned this. Are you installing any new poles, or are you using what's already
this
there?
is one existing utility pole.
Okay. And this is, I'm sure this is pretty common, I'm sure it's throughout the city. Have you guys personally done any projects within the city?
And Michelle, have you done?
I don't recall exactly what we've done in Everett, but we do have network here. AT&T has plenty of network in Everett, so yes, there's definitely been projects in the
Okay.
past.
Okay.
And we're going to tie into existing network. So the answer to that is yes, definitely. We've done stuff in
Okay.
the past. I'm not familiar with specifically a site that we had done.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Councilor Matusky?
Thank you, Mr. President. Sir, I didn't catch your name.
My name is Adam Hiller.
Mr. Hiller, 201 Chelsea Street, is that apartment building?
I believe so.
And this is to service the building, is that it?
So there's an existing cell site on top of this private building.
Oh, I see.
And this would be to run AT&T service to that cell site. Currently, the cell site has, I don't know if it's Sprint or T-Mobile or who it is, but.
So their device is on top of that building? And
Yes.
this connects to it?
Yes, and AT&T would just be getting
So-
access through that.
So TC Systems is
An affiliate.
affiliated with AT&T?
Yes.
Okay. And the other thing is, there are some neighbors there, where you're going to do the nighttime work, which we appreciate, because that's a very bad intersection, and it's very congested, so. And my brother happens to live on the corner of Chelsea and Vine, right on the corner of that house, but could you notify the neighbors that they'll be inconvenienced to some degree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I believe there were letter letters sent.
There's
to
there's an
whoever's-
apartment building, the white apartment building, and the house is on Vine Street.
Yeah, we'll absolutely notify them. I believe we'll have someone on site during construction if anyone has questions.
Oh,
just
good.
monitor.
Because, it is an inconvenience.
Sure.
As you saw earlier tonight, we have a lot of these requests coming in. So we have to be very careful for our neighborhoods in this city before we can, but I'm going to vote in favor of this because you do have some good plans, and you sound like your company knows what they're doing, so.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Councilor DeFlorio?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How much do you have to dig? I'm sorry, I don't know if you answered that question, but how far do you have to
So-
go in feet-wise?
So our plan A would be to strictly dig in the sidewalk from the pole to the manhole. That would be in between 10 and 15 feet. Plan B, which is like a 1% chance we're looking at, hopefully we won't have to do it, would be to actually trench across Vine, and that would be closer to 70 feet. Since
So
we'd
you'd
be
have to
crossing the
dig,
entire
if you,
street.
if the worst scenario, you'd have to dig 70 feet.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
across Vine, yeah, as
Okay.
opposed to best case scenario would be strictly in the side.
The reason why I'm asking is because I meant to ask this on the first question also, and I apologize that I forgot. There's a lot of streets being dug up in the city of Everett, and we have a rodent problem. So we have to figure out what we're gonna do when these streets are being dug up, Mr. President, to bait, something has to be done. And I don't mean just to pick on you, I mean with everybody, even the first petitioner. So that's the reason I asked you, how far you were digging.
Sure.
And, so, but the worst scenario is 70, that is 10 feet. But it doesn't matter if you're digging 10 feet, 20 feet, or 100 feet. We still have the problem with the rodents, so. And the wire is going up to what pole? Where is the pole located?
So the pole is pretty much on the corner of Vine and Chelsea, across the street from 201. So 201 you'd be looking at in front of you slightly to the right. I wrote the pole number down. That I think it's 3168.
So it's across the street from, it's not where the school
3169.
building is? It's across the street from the school building?
It is.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other questions, councilors? Motion made and seconded to excuse our guests with a customary thanks. All those in favor? Opposed, the ayes have it. Motion was made for open a public hearing. Was that seconded? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed, the ayes have it. Just like the last two, I'll ask 3 times both ways. Is there anyone in the audience in favor of this petition? Anybody in favor? Anybody in favor? That portion is over. Is there anyone in the audience opposed? Anybody opposed? Anybody opposed? Is there a motion to close? Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President, I believe we should send this to committee, because we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with this bait in the rodent situation. As a matter of fact, I'd like to reconsider item number 1 after this and do the same thing.
Mickey,
So, my recommendation, this goes to committee, and invite the petitioners and invite the Board of Health, and see what we can do about baiting these situations when people are digging up the street, because the rodent situation is really bad in the city of Everett.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to send item number 3 to the Committee on Community Development and Small Business. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider item number 1.
Motion made and seconded for reconsideration on item number 1. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the same thing with item number 1, I'd like to send that to committee also, invite the Board of Health and the petitioner, and see what we're gonna do in regards to baiting for the rodents.
I believe we have to vote to reconsider first.
Sorry,
Can you explain the vote, Ms. Clerk?
could we repeat that? Sorry, the clerk was out here.
Motion was made and seconded for reconsideration on
So
item
you-
number 1.
Okay, so you're gonna reconsider it. It's a roll call vote to reconsider.
That's fine.
Is that what you were looking for?
Yes,
Counselors?
Miss-
Okay, it is a roll call vote. I'm sorry, just give me 1 moment so I can write it down. For reconsideration, Counselor Capone,
Yes.
Counselor Della Sola,
No.
Counselor DeFlorio,
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon,
No.
Counselor Matusky, Counselor McKinnon,
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin,
no.
Counselor Napolitano,
No.
Counselor Sani,
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli? No. That's a no. And President DePiero?
Yes.
5 yeas, 6 nays, reconsideration has failed. On item number 1.
So the original vote,
The original vote for favorable action still stands. You have not reconsidered the piece.
okay?
Probably.
It is
Still in the
made
casino.
favorably.
He's building the casinos.
Move to open public participation?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to open public participation. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. See-
Mr. Chairman, on the public participation, there are 4 speakers. So the recommendation would be 2.5 minutes each. I believe it's gonna be a total of 10 minutes.
Okay. Just to explain to the audience, the city council rules allow for 10 minutes total of public participation. That's total for everyone. So if there are more than one person from one group, I recommend a spokesperson. And please be mindful of anyone else that wants to speak. And we are not allowed to engage, we can only listen. So if the first person wants to step
The first
forward.
speaker would be Irene and Paul Cadillo.
Irene and Paul?
That's 5. That's a 2.5. I'll do it. Is that okay?
2.5 minutes, yeah.
Irene Cadello from First Baptist Church.
Paul Cadello, First Baptist Church.
So hi, everyone, and
Hi.
thank you. We're going to be brief because we know we have a lot of people here tonight. We came from First Grace Food Pantry of First Baptist Church. A lot of our leaders and volunteers are here. Miss McKenzie's with me. Give me a little courage here. So it's almost been a year that we partnered with First Baptist Church, partnered with Grace Food Pantry. And we really came tonight to say thank you to the community, thank you to the Everett Police Department, Bobby Hall, Officer Bobby Hall, who was really instrumental with the Police Patrolmen's Association Local 94, because they have now sponsored the pantry. Want to turn around? And it's really cool that in 1 year, we really tripled when we started feeding 75 families on the third Sunday a month. We've tripled what that is. And also, we have all of North Shore with shelters, safe houses, and even cooking dinners once a month up in Lowell. So they brought you presents, all our council meant a T-shirt, because most of the council people do come to Pantry and help us. And another great thing is that I'd like to share is Trader Joe's that opened up, new Trader Joe's opened up in Somerville.
Yes.
Has now sponsored the Grace Food Pantry, and we pick up daily. We also service the Conley Center almost every day with really nice things. And I invite you to come next pantry, which is
17th.
September 17th. We have a few surprises. October, we were sponsored by Party City, and we will be giving out the first 300 children that come. We have costumes for everyone. So, again, come out, and most of you have come out. So we need your help. We need your help. And this is our crew. And if you just want to say your names, this is Miss McKenzie.
Dean Aredas, Jonathan Silva.
Paul Cadello.
Jody Cardillo.
Sean Burke Hutchinson.
Carrie Hutchinson.
And the twins.
Mackenzie, Sean, Patty.
But it does take a village to run the pantry. Our youngest volunteers are 4 years old. We've got Mackenzie and Miss McKenna, my granddaughter. So thank you again to the city. Thank you to the mayor, the councilman, the Everett Police Department that is there all the time helping us, the parking clerk, absolutely everyone. I'd be here all night, but thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You, sir.
The next speaker would be Antonia Amar.
Mr. President, city council members, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Antonio Amaya. I am the director of La Comunidad Inc. And one of the reasons why we are here tonight, it is because of, since President Trump has been in the presidency of the United States, his policies and his way of targeting immigration policies is being one of the most fearful for most of the immigrants all over the country. But here in Everett, we have a lot of Everett residents that they've been here for a long time. They are a business owner, they are a house owner, and they have very deep roots over here. And we, myself as a leader of the organization La Comunidad Inc., we have a great deep concern about these policies, specifically for those immigrants who they haven't committed any crime, but for these policies are being put in place just to deport people who haven't committed many crimes. For example, there are two programs which President Trump wants to cut, which is temporary protected status and defer action for childhood arrivals. Here in Everett, in La Comunidad, we have many members that belong to that program. And they are people who they are been working really hard here. They contribute to the city of Everett. And we are concerned about these policies. So one of the things that I haven't seen in Everett is the leadership from the city to stand up and say we are going to protect these immigrants who work really hard over here in Everett, and they are contributing to the city. For example, we have families over here, Edgar, who has been a long-time resident. He is a house owner. He is a business owner too, and he would like to tell you a few things about his life is over here in Everett.
Okay, just how much time? Okay.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Edgar González.
My name is Edgar Gonzalez.
Y soy residente aquí en Everett.
I live here in Everett
Como por 10 años.
for 10 years.
Y yo vengo de una familia de inmigrantes de El Salvador.
I come from an immigrant family from El Salvador.
De una familia pobre y de que la familia nos mudamos para acá, para Everett.
We were a poor family. We came here to move to Everett.
Mi familia es dueña de restaurantes aquí en Everett, como Taco El Paso. Él es mi tío y él es un pastor de una iglesia. Y mi tío, el esposo de un tío de mi tía, es un city councilor de la ciudad de Metún.
And I want to say now, I have an uncle who is a pastor in a local church and also the owner of Taco de Paso, and the wife of the husband of another aunt of mine is currently a city councilor with Methuen.
Y pues yo vengo aquí para pedirles también ayuda para que sentirnos protegidos por ustedes, tanto como la policía y de la ciudad. Y para, como vean, tengo un hijo por el que veo y el que quiero proteger toda mi vida.
I ask for your support and to continue to support us with the police, with the community. I also think a lot about my child, as you see here, and I want to protect him for all my life.
Y como saben, como él ya lo dijo, yo soy dueño de una casa, compré mi casa, trabajo muy duro, tengo un full time en una escuela privada aquí en Cambridge y también veo los trenes de la línea naranja.
So as Antonio said, I bought a house, and that house I bought with the money that I've saved from working 2 jobs every single day. During the day, I work cleaning a private school in Cambridge, and at night, I clean the Forest Hill Station on the Orange Line.
Y ahora estoy abriendo mi propio negocio, que es construir pisos para casas y negocios, porque veo que la ciudad de Everett es una ciudad donde uno puede crecer y ser una mejor persona, una mejor comunidad, ayudar a la comunidad, ayudar a que la comunidad crezca, a que para que vean que nosotros venimos a trabajar y que somos unas personas honradas para ayudar tanto a ustedes como a todos nosotros para apoyarnos.
So now I'm opening my own company actually to lay tile and wood floor, and I just wanted to say, entonces que
estamos aquí para ayudar muchos a ustedes, ayudarnos a la comunidad y para cuidar de mi hijo y que él sea una persona bien cuando él sea grande y que sea respetuosa en la ciudad.
And I know that Everett's a place where all of us can learn to be better people and become citizens that contribute to the community. And I ask that you all help us so that we all can help you, so that we can continue making this place flourish.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
There's 2 minutes left for public participation, just so you know, 2 minutes. Yes, I believe this is the sign.
Yes, that's me. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for taking the time to give us the space here to come and talk to you. And I am also a Everett resident. I moved from El Salvador just like my brother right here. I come from a very violent place. I grew up during the Civil War, so I have seen a lot of violence. But 17 years ago, I moved to Everett, and I came to a community where I feel safe. I came to a community where I raised my family, who part of it is here with me tonight. My children have attended the Everett public schools. My son just graduated high school. My daughter's still in high school. And I take a lot of pride in saying that this is a safe community where we have a voice. But I also work as an organizer for 32BJ. And we have about 700 members here living in Everett. And from the visits that I do to their homes and the talks that I have with the members and with my neighbors and with the family, it has come to my attention that there's a panic, like Antonio was saying here. There's a lot of panic for the immigrant community. The talks that I hear from my members is that they don't feel the confidence to call the police because they don't want any of these executive orders to come and affect them when they're going to call them. And somehow, just for reporting something to our local police, being in trouble. And like Antonio was saying, the TPS program, like we don't know what's going to happen with that. There's a lot of people that have come here to Everett, and it's contributing to this community, like Edgar here and so many other families. And I just wanted to come here because I work with 700 people. I represent all of the 700 people. And we want to let you know that what's happening here in our cities. And I just wanted to come here because I know that I have voice, that I have the opportunity to actually come to you guys that are the representatives that protect the city, to let you know what's happening and the panic that it's in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Make a motion to close public participation.
Is there a second?
No.
Is there a second? Second. Motion made and seconded to close public participation. All those in favor? Opposed? Public participation is now closed.
Mr. Chairman, could please suspend rules, take items 15 and 20 collectively.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded to take items 15 and 20 collectively. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. President, item number 15 is an order by Councilors McKinnon, Councilors DePiero, Simonelli, McLaughlin, Hanlon, Capone, and Delasola Jr. With full support of the Director of Veteran Services and the family are in agreement to dedicate the intersection at the corner of West Street and 66 Main Street in honor of Guy DiNapoli for his service to this great nation during World War II. Item number 20 is an order offered by Councilor Anthony DePiero to name the corner of Wilbur Street and Glendale Avenue after Christopher David Brianza, U.S. Navy second-class petty officer.
Councilor McKinnon?
Through you, Mr. President, I see in the audience Mr. DiNapoli, if he wanted to come up and say a few words. Is that acceptable, Mr. President?
As long as our rules allow it.
They allow it if you want.
Can you make a motion to invite him up?
Yeah.
Motion
Second
to
that.
invite Mr.
Motion
DiNapoli
made
up.
and seconded to invite Mr. DiNapoli up. Please just state your name formally for the record.
What's that?
It's on.
Hi, I'm Richard DiNapoli, my brother Stephen, and my sister Patty. And we just wanted to get a square for my father. He served in World War II in the Navy, as you know, Counselor. And we're just happy to have this done because I went to see Christianity.
Yep.
And she said he saw combat in World War II, which we didn't know. We didn't know too much about it because he didn't talk too much about it, as most World War II veterans didn't talk about it. The only thing I remember is he told me that he had German prisoners on the board, on board his ship, and they were looking for the water cooler, the water bubbler, and that's about all. He didn't say much. And he was in the Philippines, and brought us home some dollar bills. We got a $2 bill from the Philippines. I still have it. And we just like to get a square for him if down in Councilor's McLaughlin's ward.
Thank you very much. Councilor Hanlon? Councilor Hanlon?
Mr. Chairman, I just wonder if this has officially been to the Veterans Department?
I believe it has been.
Do we have a communication? from
Councilor
her?
McKinnon can elaborate.
Through you, Mr. President, to.
We need a communication from her.
She actually called me on this, and she requested it, so.
Counselor?
Is it in writing?
Counselor?
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon, I do have email communications that this was approved by Veteran Service Director.
Why don't you just read the whole
Cristiano.
communication, Mr. Clerk, please?
Also,
Oh, so I apologize.
number 20 also?
Motion made and
That I
seconded,
have-
excuse, I
yes,
guess.
both of them have been approved. I
Thank you,
don't
Mr.
have-
Chairman.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
On the piece, I'd like to, if anyone has an objection to it, I'd like to just add the entire city council, because members are now asking to be put on, to amend it to that. And also, the family was actually looking for dates in early October, so if we could amend it for that as well, for piece 15.
Motion made and seconded to amend the piece by adding the entire body with a request for a date in October. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Councilor McLaughlin?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly, I just want to congratulate Council McKinnon for leading this charge. Mr. Napoli, as many of us remember, at 66 Main Street, was truly a pillar of that community and that building. He was always active in that building and always kind of giving direction and leadership down there. And he's a guy I miss when I go down to 66 Main Street, always seeing him, as many of us, I'm sure, do. So I just wanted to thank you, Council McKinnon, for bringing us all together and leading the charge to make sure that this was going to happen for our friend down there. Thank you.
Councilor Matusky?
Thank you, Mr. President, and I too would like to express my appreciation to the DiNapoli family. This gentleman, Mr. DiNapoli, 17 years ago, in this chambers, we had a raffle, I guess you'd call it, for the residents to move into that, the village co-op, Everett Villa now they call it. But he was the first resident of that building. I've known him for many years, and unfortunately, Mr. DiNapoli's parents both passed away within days of each other last year. They were some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. This man was a gentleman, and I'm proud to support this dedication in his honor. Thank you.
Anyone else? Motion made and seconded for favorable action on the order. Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Counselor Capone?
Yes.
We should say favorable action as amended, I'm sorry.
As amended.
As amended.
Favorable action as
Just-
amended.
Counselor Capone?
Yes.
Counselor De La Sola?
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio?
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon?
Yes.
Counselor Matusky?
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano?
Yes.
Counselor Sani?
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli? And President DePiero?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, you have passed the order.
Order has been passed. Item 20, please. He gets to read it first. Did you already read it?
I have read it, Mr. President.
Oh, he has
and-
read it. I apologize. If anyone on the floor wants to make a motion to add the entire body, please feel free to do so.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to amend item 20 by adding the entire body. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
And favorable action as amended.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action as amended.
Counselor Capone?
Yes.
Counselor De La Sola?
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio?
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon?
Yes.
Counselor Matusky?
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano?
Yes.
Counselor Sani? Counselor Simonelli? And President DePiero?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, you have passed the order.
Both orders have been passed.
My review. reverting backwards.
Suspend the rules, takes items number 23, please.
Motion made and seconded to suspend the rules and take item number 23. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. 23 is now before you.
Item number 23, Mr. President, is a resolution offered by Councilor Michael McLaughlin that the City Council Committee on Community and Business Development respectfully request the appearance of the ISD Department, Board of Health, and City Clerk to discuss the happenings at 57 Kelvin Street, known as Nino's Ironworks.
Mr. President?
Councilor McLaughlin?
I'd make a motion that we send this to committee and invite the appropriate departments as listed on the item, please.
And the petitioner, Councilor? Well,
Yes.
the licensee?
Yes.
Okay. Was that a second? Second. Motion made and seconded to refer this item to the Committee on Community and Business Development with the requested guest. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
If we could please take items number 4.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded to suspend the rules. Well, actually, it's back to our regular calendar, so item number 4.
Item number 4, Mr. President, is an order to raise and appropriate $12,000 to the Police Department for auxiliary police expenses.
Mr. President, according to our rules, I believe we'd have to lay this over for 2 weeks, or it has to go to a committee.
Well,
I
you can
don't
sus-
believe we can approve this tonight.
You can
we
suspend Rule
suspend Rule
16.
If Rule
It's a
13 is
financial
suspended,
order.
it could be
Excuse me,
voted
Rule
on,
thir-
but it's up to the body.
Rule
Yeah.
13.
I move to suspend Rule 13.
Anyone else like to speak? Councilor Napolitano, you were first.
Thank you. First of all, I want to commend the members of the Everett Auxiliary Police, including its chief and its senior officers. When I got out of the Navy, I was a security police officer. I decided to take my experience and utilize it in the community. I served as an Everett Auxiliary myself for 12 years. A few years back, not too recently, a couple of years ago, it seemed like this was a voluntary organization that was just disappearing. You know, as the older members passed on, the younger members seem to be stepping up and, you know, fighting the battle to keep this organization going. Very impressed with the number of people that have come up and we've sworn in this year. We've really expanded the Everett Auxiliary Police. They've stuck to their grounds, and the thing is that I'm always in favor of anybody who's going to fight the good fight. So I think this is a great direction. We're finally getting to start to see the auxiliary come into its own. However capacity they're going to be utilized, you know, is still determined between the mayor's office and the chief of police. But seeing this money appropriated to outfit these gentlemen and show that we support them as much as they want to support us, I think this is great, and I will be fully supporting this.
Councilor Matusky?
I just want to agree with Councilman Napolitano. These men, as you could see over the last few months that have been sworn in to protect and help with our police department, they don't get paid, they need equipment. Under the direction of Chief Jordan and Captain Chris, he's got the longest last name in Everett, but, you know, they are wonderful people, and I know most of them live in Everett. There were a few that don't live in Everett. But the mayor has done the right thing here. These people are qualified, they go through testing, and they've been vetted. And this is the first time, and I've been up here a long time, that the auxiliary police is being recognized and given some money to have some equipment and to do the right thing. Everett is changing day to day. And when the casino does open up, these people are going to be very important to offset any problems we may have in the future. So I want to thank the mayor. The mayor is the one that's appropriating this money. And I'm glad that they're taking this volunteer auxiliary police department seriously at this time. And they have always, the council's always been good to the auxiliary police. But some of the former administrations have not treated them respectfully. So this is about time. This is a growing organization, as Councilor Napolitano stated, and they take it very seriously. These men are well-equipped, and I know most of them, and I want to wish them luck. As I said, it's a volunteer department, and I'm so happy the mayor has saw that they need this equipment, and finally, this is the first appropriation I can remember in my 35 years up here, so I want to thank the mayor for that.
Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. I hate to be redundant, but it's an important topic. And I know that every single person in this chamber feels the same way. Many of the auxiliary members are in the audience. They're great people. They are very well-trained. We are all appreciative of all their efforts. A lot of time goes into this. It's volunteer, has been stated by some of my colleagues. And I know I express the sentiments of the entire council when we thank them for their continued efforts. And we do appreciate everything that they do for us. So thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to speak.
Councilor McKinnon?
Through you, Mr. President. This came about, this order here, through Mr. Demas. I had called him after a meeting that I had with the regulars and also the auxiliary. This funding here is going to be utilized for equipment, badges, new auxiliary vests, also any type of equipment that they may need to be furnished to, I believe there's 60 of them now. It will be soon, yes. Okay, and with that being said, the regulars and the union from the regulars wanted this to happen because there's going to be a badge change, so it's going to be a significant change to them. So I'm all for it. I know that the mayor's all for it. I spoke to him in regards to this, and as well, I spoke to Mr. Demas, and I just want to thank him for getting this done and putting it on the calendar for tonight. So thank you, Eric. And I asked for tonight for a favorable action on this so that they can get going on this. They need to do this as soon as possible. So I would ask for favorable action on this piece. Second.
On behalf of Councilor
Suspend Rule
Simonelli,
13.
Mr. Matusky?
Thank you. Councilman Simonelli would like to express his thanks to the auxiliary police. He backs them 100%, and he wishes you all safety and good luck with the new equipment that you deserve.
Motion was made and seconded to suspend Rule 13 and take favorable action. Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Motion for favorable action. Councilor Capone.
Yes.
Councilor De La Sola.
Yes.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Yes.
Councilor Hanlon.
Yes.
Councilor Matusky.
Yes.
Councilor McKinnon.
Yes.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Councilor Napolitano.
Yes.
Councilor Sani.
Yes.
Councilor Simonelli. And President DePiero.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays. You have passed the order.
Order has passed.
We could please suspend the rules, take item number 7.
You guys just want to read the regular calendar, or do
We
you see a
might, 'cause
library
there is,
director
yeah,
here
there is
for the next
an
item?
individual.
Well, I have a sign-in sheet, so I'm going by the sign-in
Okay.
sheet. So whichever
Is the
is
second- is the
easier
motion
is
already
not a
If decided,
problem.
floor.
it's fine.
Was it seconded?
Yeah, I second it.
A motion was made and seconded to take item, what was it, Counselor?
7.
7? Okay,
It's
all
up
those
to
in
the
favor?
board, if you want me
That's
to go
fine.
by the,
All those in favor? Opposed? Item 7.
Item number 7, Mr. President, is a petition for a new awning for Polo Royale Family Dine-In at 307 Main Street.
Counselor DeFlorio?
do we have a picture of,
Yeah, I'm sorry. You didn't get any?
well, if we did, we didn't look at it, we apologize.
That's okay. It's a reddish orange.
I have to tell you, this is right on the bottom of my street, and they've
Cool.
done a fantastic job as far as remodeling the place. It doesn't look like this at all. They've stuccoed on the outside, put all new stuff in, it looks fantastic. I'm not too crazy about this orange, unfortunately. So I believe that we have an ordinance.
Nope, we do not. We have a rule of the city council.
Okay.
Which only has authority with us. So you can, a rule tells you how to act. It does not have the rule of law, is how I
Well, the
understand
council
what a
rule is
rule
that,
is,
I
so.
believe that we want crimson red, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
You're guiding them, but legally, they can do, unless you put it in an ordinance, and you can do that. I would check with legal, but you can create an ordinance, but currently, we only have a
Is the
rule.
petitioner here?
They may be here. I believe I see them in, yep, there he
Could we
is.
please speak to them? Maybe we can, we certainly,
Set in the
like I
form of a
said, they've
motion?
done a fantastic job, and I certainly don't want to give them a hard time. So if we
Motion
could
made and
please invite the
seconded to
petitioner
invite
up.
the petitioner up. All those in favor? Opposed? Will you please step forward? Hey, draft an ordinance. Might as well. Hello,
Hi,
please
how are
just
you?
state your name for the record.
Good evening, Jose Cabrera.
I just want to thank you for doing a
Thank you.
great job on the building. I live right up the street from you, and I was going to come in to say hello. I just haven't had the opportunity.
Thank you.
We're trying to get away with the awnings being different colors, and we're trying to keep them more on like a crimson red. Would that be a problem for you?
Not at all. That's our color.
Okay. So instead of a bright orange, if you could do like a reddish, is that okay?
It is a crimson
Oh, it is crimson red.
red. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It looks orange there, so.
No, it's a crimson red.
It is crimson red. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you
And it's
for
gonna
doing a
give a
great
lot
job.
of,
And welcome to the city.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Is there a
So
motion?
favorable action on the order.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action on the order. Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
That's my order. Thank you. Counselor Capone?
Yes.
Counselor Della Sola?
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio?
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon?
Yes.
Counselor Matusky? Yes. Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano?
Yes.
Counselor Sani? Counselor Simonelli? And President DePiero.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Order has passed. Item number 5.
Please suspend the rules and take item number 9, according to the sign-in sheet.
Motion made and seconded to suspend the rules and take item number 9. All those in favor? Opposed? Item number 9.
Item number 9 is an order offered by Counselor Anthony DePiero as president. It's an application for a permit to project on or over the public way for Mini Bites Buffet, Inc. at 366 Ferry Street to install new sign and change film of an existing sign.
Is the petitioner in the audience? Bruno, I believe it is?
Not that I am aware of. Oh, yep, there he is. Is that an motion, Council, to invite him?
Yeah, can we invite him up,
Yep.
please?
Motion made and seconded to invite the petitioner forward. Please state your name for the record. Hi. Please introduce yourself.
Is it working? Hi, good evening. My name is Bruno.
Hi, Bruno.
Just, can you give us a brief description of what's going to be going on here with this sign?
Yeah, the store is gonna be selling with food services, and it's a typical food from Brazil. We're bringing out, and it's made by dough and fillings. So we be kind of, how would say, kind of snacks, you know.
And what's this sign going to look like?
Oh, the sign, there is an existing sign already there that I'll just change the film, but I want to put a new one, which is a blade sign, which will be getting a little bit over on the walk side. The color will be black, and it will be a white light on it.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah.
Sorry? 366 First Street. It's just on a corner with the Broadway. Yeah.
Mr. Bruno? What was in this store before? There was a restaurant before, no?
No, before it was, I think, clothes stores.
A what store?
A clothes store.
Clothing store.
Yeah, 99 cents.
Right. I just saw a picture of your new sign, and it looks really nice. And it's classy looking, because Glendale Square is coming along pretty good now. And I want to wish you the best of luck. Is it a family-run operation?
Yes, kind of.
Kind of. So
Yeah,
when you
me
say
and my
buffet, people come in, a buffet is, all you can eat type of deal?
Yeah, no, actually that will be, I'll have a delivery and pickups. I won't have a lot of seats inside, just for people to wait to pick it up and bring it home.
And it's Brazilian food?
Yeah, it's a Brazilian food.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. That's that? Thank you.
Excuse with the customary thanks.
Motion made and
Excuse.
seconded to excuse, I guess, with the customary thanks. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Favorable
Thank
action
you
on
for
the order.
appearing. Motion made and seconded for favorable action on the order. Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
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 I'm sorry. Counsel Capone voted yes, Counsel Della Sola voted yes, Counsel DeFlorio voted yes. Counsel Hanlon. My mic was not on, sorry. Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon. Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano.
Yes.
Counselor Sani.
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli. And President DePiero.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
Mr. President, if we could please suspend the rules and take items number 5.
I think that's the next item anyway. Item number 5, Mr. Clerk?
Item number 5, Mr. President, is in order to
Yeah, this is the
authorize the
next one.
revolving fund for
When
the
you bounce it back and
replenishment
forth
of
with the sheet, you
supplies
don't know
for the
what's next.
copiers at both the Parlin and Shute libraries.
Counselor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. If I may, a point of personal privilege. My wife is a trustee of the library, so whenever a piece before the library comes up, I excuse myself, just so there isn't even the semblance of a conflict. I don't want our poor librarian, Mrs. DeBoli, to get a complex or think I don't want to vote. I think she's doing a marvelous job. She's a wonderful lady. They're doing great work down there, but I am going to recuse myself during this piece. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you,
Favorable action
Counselor.
on the order?
I do believe we should suspend Rule 13, just in case.
Suspend Rule 13, 'cause
Motion
there's no
made,
money involved.
suspend
they're just
Rule
moving-
13.
So I discussed this prior to the meeting, because in the, yes, the piece in the agenda does not say an amount. In the back, it does say there's a request for a maximum annual expenditures of 10,000. I feel more comfortable with you suspending the rule and we being
Suspend
wrong
Rule,
for suspending
13.
it, rather than not suspending it and being wrong, and then the auditors catching that.
Motion
so you
made
know.
and seconded to suspend Rule 13 and take favorable action. Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Counselor Della Sola.
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio. Counselor Hanlon.
Yes.
Counselor Matusky.
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano.
Yes.
Counselor Sani.
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli. And President DePiero.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
The
Motion to
order
suspend the
has
rules and
passed.
take items 6 and 8 collectively.
Motion to suspend the rules and take items 6 and 8 collectively. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 6. Yes, Counselor? Are all the papers in order, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, they are.
We have to read them first.
I haven't read them, Mr. Counselor. I have to read them first. Item number 6, Mr. President, is an order.
You can't.
You can't do that anymore.
have
Item
to
number
read 'em.
6 is a petition for renewal of a lodging house license from the Caritas Communities, Inc. for the Bill Moore House at 76 Norwood Street. And item number 8 is a petition for renewal of a lodging house license from Caritas Communities, Inc. for the Hancock Hotel located at 19 Hancock Street.
Second motion.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action. On the motion, do you have a question, Counselor?
I'm not really sure, so if I'm out of order, please rule me out. Are we allowed to ask for a report of incidents at the police and fire in these
We
facilities in
do,
the past year?
and normally I present them. I did not, but there were no major incidents at this location.
At either location?
At either. I mean, they've had minor 911 calls for medical, for the most part. Nothing, major crimes, anything like that.
Okay.
And I will be submitting the quarterly report probably next week.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mr. President.
Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
On item number 6, Counselor Capone.
Yes.
Counselor Della Sola.
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon.
Yes.
Counselor Matusky. Counselor McKinnon. Counselor McLaughlin. Counselor Napolitano.
Yes.
Counselor Sani. Counselor Simonelli. And President DePiero.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0
All set.
nays.
Thank you for appearing.
That's on item number 6.
Item number 10.
We got to vote on them separately, Mr. President.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay. Item number 8. Counselor Capone.
Yes.
Counselor Della Sola.
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon.
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio. Counselor Matusky. Counselor McKinnon.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin. Councilor Napolitano?
Yes.
Councilor Sani?
Yes.
Councilor Simonelli? And President DePiero.
Yes,
11 yeas, 0 nays.
both petitions are passed. You're all set.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you for appearing.
May I?
Yeah, we are. Item 10.
Yes. Item number 10 is an order offered by Councilor Anthony DePiero as president, an order for a special license for Village Fest.
Favorable action?
Second.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action. On the motion, Councilor McLaughlin.
What are we actually licensing, Mr. President? Sale of alcohol, or the fact that it can happen?
Can I?
I'll let our clerk elaborate.
So this is what we do annually. We don't only do it for Village Fest, it's what we do for the St. Patty's Day event and the event we did for the 4th of, not for the 4th of July, for the city's 125th. It allows us on public property, on city-owned property, to serve alcohol. We are not serving it, I believe this time, it's all the local companies down what we call the fermentation district now. So the 3 breweries and the distillery will be having alcohol. They're allowed to come onto the public street, so that's why we do that. They're licensed to serve alcohol. We're allowing them to do it on the public way, and we're insured for that.
So we're insuring them to be able
Nope,
to.
they should have their own liability. I believe we get a liability for the day because we're allowing people on our street. So we have to, we're holding an event, so, on the public way. But they have their
So
own
if something were to
liability
go
insurance.
wrong, who's reliable for that? Us or the? Because I'm a part with some of my colleagues are part of a feast in another city, and I know that the rules are really strict on this, and so I'm trying to figure out if something were to go wrong, who's actually on the hook for?
I don't have the insurance policy, so I wouldn't be able to answer that. That would either be
So by
the
us
administration or
allowing
the auditor.
by us allowing this to go forward, we're not really clear on who is being held reliable if there's an incident, whether it's a city insurance policy or a private.
Someone, might be able to answer better than me.
I'll yield the floor to my colleagues.
Councilor Napolitano may be able to answer the question.
The facilities that are serving alcohol have the liability. It's up to them to ensure that people are of age, people are not over drinking. Okay, it's there, the liability is on there. What's happening with the city, the liability is in case somebody trips and falls on the city street. So it's really not the same thing, okay? This is just allowing them to be able to license, as we have in the past, but the liability for, and the responsibility to ensure that people are legally imbibing, drinking. So much for trying to sound smart, right? But the liability is on the servers and on the companies that manufacture it. Okay, that's always been the case, and that's actually state law.
Councilor Del Solo.
That answer?
This, it's related to it, I guess. You could tell me if I'm not. All the vendors that are gonna be on here, are they getting permits? The
What was
vendors
that?
that are
I'm
on the
sorry?
streets, they having permits to be out there, and do they pay a permit fee to be out on the streets? All the vendors that are gonna be out there?
I'm
I
not
don't know if you could-
100%, but I'm pretty sure, don't forget our health inspectors are out that day, the food inspectors, inspecting each piece, all the food trucks. So I imagine they pay a permit
Okay.
to be there. I'm not 100% though, because I don't run
I
this
mean,
event.
it's great
so
they're there, don't get me wrong, but
I don't
they make
want to
some,
speak out of
they
turn.
make some big money out there on,
Yeah.
because of
Well,
us being,
I
us
believe they
having
pay
this event.
a fee to be at the fest.
There is a fee.
I don't know if you know, like Senator DiDomenico's fees.
Yeah,
there's a
it's
fee.
only, it's not much.
And I'm not sure how much it is here
Okay.
either.
From the chair, if I may, I know there's one of the sponsors of the Craft Brewers Guild, and I would assume that those breweries are a part of that, union, so to speak.
Okay.
And they're a big sponsor. Councilor Capone?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do think that was a good summary from one of my colleagues, but I do think that Council McLaughlin raises a good point. We're voting on this, and it's standard. We do this a lot, but the thing is, we want to make sure that the parties involved are properly insured. We got that all ratcheted down. I don't know if it's in the paperwork, but do we know if anyone from the city solicitor office is available? Because that would be a great thing to hear it from them.
they're from, one solicitor is out on injury, from surgery, and I'm not sure if the other solicitor is in the building.
We do have another meeting before the event. If
Yeah.
you would like to lay it over and have your questions
Yeah,
answered.
I think that just to be safe, it's probably best to lay it over. And we could send the request out to the city solicitor, just to ensure that the i's have been dotted, the t's crossed, because it's a good point raised by our colleagues. So.
Before we do that, I would ask that you hold it over for a moment, so someone from the administration can come down, just because I do not know if it starts here and then goes to the licensing board, and if that's the case, we don't have enough time.
I'll rescind that motion laid on the table.
If we could check first. I don't want to affect the event.
Councilor Matusky.
Mr. President, this event was probably the most successful event that Everett has ever held, okay? Number one, it was well-attended, not 100 people last year, closer to 10,000 people, okay? Of all ages, young, old, no problems at all. And, you know, this is going to be, you know, the mayor has got, I saw a press release last week that these companies that are down there, they've been participating in this. This is not a new thing. I mean, it's not the first time. You know, I'm ready to vote for it. I mean, this is the Village Festival. It's the biggest event that happens in Everett that I've seen in many years. Bigger than the fireworks, bigger than anything. People are going to come. They have one of the, last year was the Bob Marley group, which was very popular. They hired some good entertainment. The Wynn Casino people sponsor it. This is not a Mickey Mouse operation. This is something that's a lot of work been put into. And, you know, I read the press release. You know, at any given time when you have an event, okay, I don't care if it's in your backyard or wherever, there's going to be there may be a problem. There's bad apples everywhere. And, you know, and the clerk said we were covered with insurance. This covers the sidewalks and stuff. The people selling the liquor have their own insurance policy, from what I understand. You know, I'm prepared to vote in favor of it. I mean, I don't see a problem. What is it, next week?
September 23rd.
It's the 23rd, so
we do have someone from
it's
the
a month
administration.
from now.
Is
But,
there
I
a
mean,
motion to
time is up.
invite
Yeah,
the
people have to
administration?
plan these things.
Absolutely.
Motion made and seconded to
Speaker
invite
finish.
Mr. O'Donnell before us.
Let the speaker finish.
Yeah, I'm not completed yet, Mr. President.
I apologize, Councilor.
Thank you, and I'm glad that Mr. O'Donnell has just arrived. I was just saying, I want Mr. O'Donnell to know my sentiments. This is probably the biggest event that the city of Everett has held in many years, not 500 people. This is like 10,000 people. We are the host community for this casino. People from all over the area are going to come here to see Mr. Carlin, I think, in the Funkadelic group. But they're nationally known. This is not some rinky-dink operation. The question is, Mr. O'Donnell, the permitting for these people who are selling beer or alcoholic beverages. There's some concern here that they may not have insurance. I think that's the problem here. But we are covered, am I correct? That's not the problem? Well, maybe I'm misinformed. I'm prepared, Mr. O'Donnell, I want you to know that I want to give you credit for what your people did last year, the mayor's office. This is the real McCoy thing in Everett. This is not 100 people and put up a tent. And this is something decent, and I'm going to vote for it, and I'm not going to stand in the way of anything that happened at this Village Fest, okay? Thank you.
Councilor McLaughlin was the first speaker, and if you
Thank
want
you,
your
Mr.
questions
President.
addressed.
I am absolutely in agreement with Councilor Matusky. This is a great event. It's an event that is well attended. We've all supported in the years past. My question is, who is reliable with alcohol beverages being served? If we grant this special license this evening, who holds liability if there is an issue on the sidewalk? I know a company has liability in their facility. If somebody leaves their facility and there's an incident on outside, somewhere on the street, who is held reliable?
In terms of liability, I would say right now at first blush that it would be the establishments themselves for over-serving. It's a requirement that anyone that is serving the alcohol be trained in the lingo in the industry is tip certified. So that's a requirement for anyone who has, who is going to be serving alcohol at the event. So this is our third event. You know, we're fully covered. We've done it without issue, and we've always had all the contracts in place, all the licenses in place and everything. So there doesn't appear that there'd be any liability that will reflect back onto the city.
So in all due respect, Mr. O'Donnell, you don't know who's reliable. Basically, in all due respect, there is no clear answer to the question. of
I'd be
who
hesitant
holds
to
the
without the
liability.
city solicitor, but I know that an establishment is responsible for serving alcohol.
In their facility, correct, and then what happens, transpires outside of their facility, how can you hold them reliable? It's a public sidewalk, public street.
But they're not going to be served on the public sidewalks or streets.
They were told that they're gonna be served.
So I was saying, it's liability for them internally.
It's
The
outside, guys.
streets have to do with it.
No,
as
guys,
per
it's-
form. It's within a fenced-in area.
Are you going to yield the floor, Counselor, or do you still?
I'll yield the floor, but I'm not satisfied with the answer this evening.
Councilor
Well, the
McKinnon.
serving stations are on, even if they're outdoors, are on their property, and they're all tip certified. And I know the city has a cart there from the Craft Brewers Guild, of which all, much like the servers that we use for the St. Patrick's Day event, they were all tip certified and were fully insured.
Councilor McKinnon?
Through you, Mr. President, to our speaker. Mr. O'Donnell, tip certified, if they go on the property or in their property and they're actually consuming alcohol, tip certified is supposed to actually shut them off at that point and, say, you've had enough at that point. That's what tip certified is. So if in fact they overindulge and they don't catch it, if in fact they were to, say, go out into their car and get into a car accident, drunk driving, the police, I believe, what they do is they want to know exactly where they were, so they can go back to the establishment that served. So, but that's what it is. I mean, this right here, we're saying.
Through the chair,
we're
please.
saying-
Councilor McKinnon has the floor.
We're saying, on one hand, we want to insure it, but on the other hand, we don't. I'm not getting it, but, I mean, every event which has been in the city of Everett, whether it be at the Armory, serving wine, or down at the band that we just had over the summer months, we served beer and alcohol there. So why did we do it for them, and we're not going to do it for these individuals now? I'm not getting it.
Councilor Capone, then Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm not.
President.
Yeah.
Through you to the chief of staff. First of all, very well run, especially the numbers of people you're talking about. And I don't think there's any question about that. At least I don't think that's what my colleagues' concern is. It's surely not my concern, because I think it's been very, very well run, especially the numbers that you're talking about. I think that, and I'm sure the administration dotted the i's and crossed the t's. It's just is getting the final blessing here. We just want to make sure that, all the vendors that are involved have the proper insurance. I don't know if they have to get when there's an event like this, I don't know if they have to get kind of like an umbrella on their policy, or if they have to do anything, if they have to notify the insurance company that there's going to be an event and there's a little bit more exposure. They may not need to. I just want to get an answer on that. And I think that going forward would probably make it easier, is that whenever we do have something like this and there's a request to the special license, just a quick note from the city solicitor saying that, everything is in line and everything is good, the i's have been dotted, the t's crossed. I think that'd be fine. I don't foresee a problem. I don't think anybody on this council is against it, because it's been a tremendous success. Just making sure that, and I'm sure that the office did that. I just want to, put my head in the pillow and know that we're good. And I think that's all that, and we have plenty of time. It's not like this is tomorrow. So if we just get clarification from the city solicitor that all's well, that's all I care about.
Without
so.
question, and would it just a communication over the next couple of days be satisfactory for everybody? Because I do know that we do meet with every potential vendor on a regular basis, and they still do have to apply to the licensing board for the one-day license to serve outside of the walls, the four corners of their establishment as well. So, I mean, it's very detailed process getting up to the point where we're actually having the event that day.
Yeah,
I mean,
that'd
in all
be
things.
fine
So
for me, that's.
We'll gladly,
Yeah.
we'll gladly provide that, detailed explanation
So next meeting?
as to why there's not a major concern.
So, yeah, so I mean, if we laid it over to the next meeting, got the communication in between, that wouldn't mess anything up, would it? Or,
I would have the communication well before next meeting.
okay.
Available.
So
for you,
whatever
yes.
the will of the body is, Mr. President.
Okay. Councilor DeFlorio hasn't spoken yet.
I don't know. We've had vendors in the city forever. I'm not understanding this conversation right now. We had the party at the 125th at the Glendale Park. They were selling fried dough. It's the same thing like someone selling fried dough and you get burnt on their machine. So obviously, these people have to have insurance. I don't think the city of Everett's ever given out permits without them having insurance, all right? As long as I've been here. The stadium, we had a parade, they were serving beer, okay? It's the same thing. Why is this question arising tonight? I'm not understanding it. We've done it for years. So obviously, the city knows what they're doing. The city wouldn't have this in front of us if these people don't have insurance.
Correct.
So what is the difference?
Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not going to belabor this
I want to
issue.
avoid getting into a debate here. Let's
Absolutely, and I'm
get
not going to
the bottom
belabor
of
the
this,
issue.
please.
But I couldn't disagree more with Councilor DeFleury. This is like apples and orange, Councilor. You're talking about a stand for a fried dough versus alcoholic beverages. There is such strict, tight guidelines on this matter that to learn the rules that I have in the recent weeks is why I brought this forward tonight because of the issue. Because I would have brought it forward at the next event, whatever that next event was. It just happens to be Village Fest. So it's completely different than having a food cart at a carnival or at a Glendale Park for the 125th anniversary. The guidelines are completely different. So that's why I brought it forward tonight. But I am satisfied with getting a communication from the chief of staff and making sure that everything is in a row and not laying it over for 2 weeks is fine with me. He said he'll get us communication, in which he will. Thank you.
Yes, I can't stress enough, rest assured, Councilor, there'll be no liability on the city. This is a fun community event that's ever expanding, and that's why we work so diligently to make sure that, things go without consequence.
What is your pleasure on the piece, councilors?
Favorable action.
Councilor
I
Hanlon.
second the motion.
Councilor Hanlon was waiting to speak. I apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Mr. Chairman, I've been listening to everybody's side, and I know everybody here has their own reasons for being for it or against it. However, if we lay this on the table, we're talking about us meeting on the 12th,
11.
which doesn't, or whatever, somewhere around there anyway, which doesn't leave much more time for these people to organize. And an event like this isn't done overnight. It takes a long time to do it. And I think someone's sitting by to say, well, we're going to get our license or not, and I run a hot dog stand, I may want to go to someplace else to assure that I have someplace else, rather than waiting to come here. And I've been to 2 events. How many events have we had?
Two.
I've been to the 2 of them. And honestly speaking, I have not seen anyone drinking on public property. I've seen plenty in their areas. They only drink on their sidewalks, or on their properties. And they have fences around them, so you can't really just walk in. You've got to get into a doorway. You can't reach over or just walk in off the side. And I have not seen anybody inebriated at all. And we have police that watch the cars going in and out. There's policemen standing there. I'm sure if you see someone staggering up to there, they're not going to drive their car. They're going to be stopped from driving a car, sent someplace to rest for a while. So I'm in favor of voting on this evening, getting it done, and letting these people know that we appreciate them, do the same thing they did for the last 2 years, and what more can we complain about, That's it. I trust them to do the job that they're doing. And everybody has a good time. In the daytime, we have kids down there. At the nighttime, some of the adults play some of the kids' things that they do, so it's a good time by all, and I don't see anybody really acting out of hand. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Napolitano?
And if I might add to the councilman's words, we're going to get the information we're asking for in a few days. We voted, we approved this tonight. If you're not comfortable with the response we get back, then bring it up for reconsideration. You can always do that. You always have that tool. So I believe we'll have the information in plenty of time to be able to feel comfortable with our decisions. And I think we do need to proceed. They've done a great job. I'll be honest, I never would have expected Village Fest to be as successful as it has. But it's very well organized, very clean. There's been no incidents. We're attracting people from outside of the community that's bringing dollars into the community. and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? So I would encourage a positive, favorable action, sorry.
Second motion.
It's been a,
Motion was made.
I've been on vacation. This is my first
We
day
all
back
have,
to
it's
work.
okay.
Yeah, I still
Motion
haven't
was
quite
made and
finished
seconded for favorable action. Mr. O'Donnell is itching to say one more
I'll
thing.
I'll rescind my motion.
To lay it over.
To lay it over, because the assurance is from the chief of staff. Thank you.
And in addition, please bear in mind that every establishment, although they're currently licensed to sell alcohol, has to apply for a separate one-day license, and I believe that's September 5th at the licensing board meeting, with which they will have to provide all the necessary documentation. I mean, trust me on our licensing board, if they don't have everything that is required at that hearing, they wouldn't allow for it anyway. They're a very strict governing body, and they do a tremendous job. So there is absolutely no fear of liability on the city's end.
Okay, call for the question.
Excuse with the customary thanks.
Motion made and seconded to excuse our guests for the customary thanks and take favorable action on the order. Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Sani.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli. And President DePiero.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Item number 11. Rosa.
Item number 11 is an ordinance offered by Councilor John F. Hanlon as president, an ordinance regulating the licensure of taxi cabs in the city of Everett.
Favorable action on the order?
Counsel Hanlon?
On the order?
Yes.
I have a couple of, you know, I've been around with this ordinance for a long time, and I read it, and I have a couple of amendments that I have to make on it. So the first amendment that I want to make is on Section B, Item 14, which says assignment or transfer of licenses prohibited. The word bylaw is in there. It should be ordinance, because the city of Everett does not have bylaws. And the next one is in Section C, subsection.
Counselor, I'm sorry.
I
Is the
already
clerk-
have it.
You already have it,
Yep.
okay.
In Section C, subsection 9, liability, it says a permit holder is at all times responsible. I want that to be a permit holder and/or the license holder, because to have the permit holder, the one that is a taxi cab driver, be responsible for everything, even though the licensee would have the insurance for it. So I think both of them should be in there. I think the permit holder is liable if he violates the law. Okay, but if he's not, if he just gets in an automobile accident, it's not fair to say he has to pay for everything. So it should be the permit holder and/or the license holder. So those are the two amendments.
Second motion.
So could I please have, Counsel Matusky?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm just curious, you know, I did speak to the city clerk, Mr. Cornelio, and he had given me some information. We are currently, we have 25 cabs licenses, is that it?
Currently 18.
Oh, 18.
Counselor, and this will increase it to 22.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Allowing us for one more cab company.
so
if
one
they
cab
elect.
company would have 4, is that it?
They have to, according to this ordinance, you have to at least get 3, so they could either get 3 or 4.
Oh, I
And one person can only own up to 80%, which is the current licensee owns about 80%.
I see. Well, I want to thank you for the information
Very
from your
welcome.
office and from you.
Thank you.
I had some questions the last 2 weeks ago, and you straightened it out. So I'll support this tonight. Thank you.
So it would be favorable action as amended?
And just so you know, Madam Chairman, it's for ordainment. We've already enrolled this.
Okay. Do I have a first and,
I didn't have a first and second, right?
do we have a first and
Favorable
second?
action.
I didn't hear it. As
Favorable
amended.
action on the order? As amended.
Do I have a second? Roll call.
All right. As amended, Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky. Yes. Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Sani.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli. Madam Chairman, 10 yeas, 0 nays.
10 yeas, 0 nays, you have passed the order. Well, it's been ordained, I'm sorry, is that correct?
Pass the ordinance, yep,
Yeah.
ordainment.
Ordained, okay.
Just going in order. Item number 12, Madam Chairman, is an ordinance offered by Councilor Anthony DePiero as president, an ordinance amending Section 1-8, general penalty. This, again, has already been enrolled. This is for ordainment.
Favorable action on the ordinance.
I have a favorable action. I do have a second. Please call the roll.
Councilor Capone.
Yes.
Councilor Della Sola. Councilor DeFlorio.
Yes.
Councilor Hanlon.
Yes.
Councilor Matusky. Councilor McKinnon.
Yes.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Councilor Napolitano.
Yes.
Councilor Sani.
Yes.
Councilor Simonelli. 10 yeas, 0 nays. You have passed the ordinance.
10 yeas, 0 nays. You have passed the ordinance.
Madam Chairman, I have a question for you, if I may, on a personal basis. This is regarding items that are, if an item is enrolled, perhaps the clerk might be able to answer this. If an item is enrolled, and it then comes back on us for endatement, when we amend that item, doesn't that reset the enrollment process?
It does if you change the intent of the ordinance. So if we make minor changes, even in my, as clerk, the charter allows me to make minor amendments to things, so if there's an A or an is. So I believe the intent of the ordinance was intact, so I don't believe we needed to re-enroll it. That was my ruling, but you can,
Right.
you can question it, and then you can reconsider if you like, but.
No,
To me, the intent of the ordinance is still intact. We changed 2 words.
Just a little verbiage.
Right.
All right, thank you. I
That
just
okay?
wanted to be clear, so we,
Yep.
again, are operating.
You're welcome. Thank you. That would be, item number 13 is a resolution offered by Councilor Wayne Matusky, a resolution regarding the fence along the railroad tracks abutting Parish Street.
Council Matusky?
Thank you, Madam President. Do we have any communication from the Code Enforcement Department? If not, we'll just lay this on the table and request that they, I know that Inspector D'Amato and Nuzzo, or Inspector Nuzzo, were going to investigate this whole area. So maybe they are still working on it, so I'll ask the clerk to be in touch with them and ask them for a report on what's going on in that fence area. There's been recent children killed near the railroad tracks in various cities, and this has to be looked at. There was a big gaping hole at the end of Lewis Street, and it has to be looked at. We've got homeless, unfortunately, some homeless people that have got living room sets and barbecue grills along this area. And it has to be looked at and evaluated, and so let's just refer this to the next council meeting, and hopefully we'll get a response at the Code Enforcement Department. Thank you.
So do I have a second to refer, I have a second to refer item 13 to the next council meeting, and who did you want to invite, Councilman? Just a report back? Okay.
I have it.
All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Yeah, referred item 13 to the next meeting.
Can we suspend the rules and take item number 14 and 16 collectively?
Second.
They will be collectively, because
Thank
we've
you.
already done 15, so,
14 and 16?
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Item number 14, Madam Chairman, is a resolution offered by Councilor Matusky, Massport Representative and Community Development Advisory Board Member, Mr. Souza, appear the next meeting, June 26, to explain constant loud, low-flying airplane harassment over the last month and a half at the request of the concerned residents. Item number 16, Madam Chairman, is a resolution offered by Councilor Wayne Matusky that Massport once again be notified that noise levels on August 17th, August 19th, and August 20th, 2017 have been loud, low, and excessive for 18-hour periods each day, and that a certified letter be sent notifying the Massport Director.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll take item 14 first. As we all know, and I want to thank this council for supporting me and getting Massport to get Everett back on track to where we were a few years ago, and a few months ago, 6 months ago. From May 14th to The end of July, it was unbelievable. Okay, so we all know that. I want to thank the Chief of Staff, Mr. O'Donnell. He has been in constant communication with Massport on this issue. We had a meeting scheduled, but unfortunately it had to be postponed. The mayor has taken a role in this issue and has been in discussions with Mr. McGlynn, who is the executive director of Massport. And I want to thank him. Things have improved, okay? But there again, now you look at item number 16. This is not fair to our community. August 17th, 19th, and 20th, just a short period of time, a week ago, was unbelievable, okay? A plane a minute for 18 hours, okay? You know, it's pretty sad when neighbors of mine can identify what airlines are going over their head now. JetBlue, oh, it's, you know, it's almost, it's unreal. It's just really, really a terrible thing that's happening in certain sections. So anyway, I want that, a certified letter, Mr. Cornelio, Clerk Cornelio. I want that certified, letting them know. And just when I thought things were getting better, we got bombed for 3 days. Now, they claim that they have a runway that just completed. We all know about that, you know. Now they got to do the electrical on the runway. Next week it'll be something else. But I just want to, as an example, now, it was reported in one of the local papers that only 48 people complained in the month of May, okay? Because every time you complain, the Massport can't, well, they probably do lie about it. But July, I can tell you, I spent personal money on advertisements and notifications to certain neighborhoods in the city. And I can tell you, if 300 or 400 people called me, don't you think they called Massport? And they didn't come out with the July and August, June and July complaint. They did May, 48 people. We weren't very organized in May. Of course, it started May 14th. The city of Medford's taken this very seriously. And I take it seriously, and now this council is taking it seriously, and the mayor. We have to be, Massport is a con job, okay? I just want to let you know that. No disrespect. They're a state agency. We pay for them. And you hear their newest proposal at Massport? When you drop somebody off at the airport, they want to start charging you for that, too. Taking your family member to the airport. Oh, yeah, there'll be a toll set up. They are the biggest con men going. Now, I just want to explain something. Now, a few of my neighbors and people throughout Everett have given me complaints that they received in the mail. If you're a regular complaint person like myself, well, you get one of these letters, okay? Very brief, one page. But if you're a first-time caller, you get all this propaganda here that tells you which way the wind's blowing and all this baloney. And it's disgusting. So that first-time caller, oh, this is why. Oh, and you really got to be an MIT graduate to know what some of this stuff means. And they are a con job, okay? They're not good neighbors. They're not good neighbors to Chelsea. They're not good neighbors in Revere. You should see what they go through in East Boston. But they get some residual financing and so forth with soundproofing. I don't want soundproofing. I want to enjoy my property. So this registered letter coming from this city council, and by the way, I'd like to amend that to include that resolution. The entire city council is, you know, because I know Council Capone lives not too far from me. We can't put up with this, you know, and I want to thank the members of this council. It's a personal issue now with me. And I have no gripe against Massport, but they're con artists. And I'm getting all kinds of information. But anytime you call, and I don't want people to get discouraged, if you call that number, 722-617-722-3333, that is their number, okay? Send it in. Now, let's hope that things have improved. And I want to thank the mayor for taking an active role. The mayor has really come up to the plate on this, and Mr. O'Donnell has gone bent over backwards. And I just want, you know, this is a serious thing to me. It's a quality of life issue for my neighborhood, the future of development of that area where these planes are coming over. Councilman McKinnon was at my house on one of these days, the 18th, I think it was, and he couldn't believe it. He said, this is terrible. Even if you go in the house and put the air conditioner on, it's affecting TV reception, affecting phone reception. It's a lot of different things involved. Massport is not a good agency, okay, as far as I'm concerned. They're con jobs, they're a con artist over there, and I want the certified letter going to them, and hopefully, I'm praying that we'll get some quality of life, peace of mind going on, and go back to where we were. You don't mind a plane now and then, but this is terrible. Not to mention the low-flying planes, the LNG tank. I could go on and on, the seriousness of this here. But let's just send the certified letter out, and I will update the membership as things progress with the mayor's office and Mr. O'Donnell and Mr. Sousa, who's on the Citizens Advisory Council. And, you know, like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is serious business to me. It's affecting property values in my neighborhood and throughout this city. And believe me, it's just a matter of time before one of these planes crashes or drops a wheel, okay? Or something happens. Something bad's going to happen. I don't know when. But I hope it doesn't, but it's just bound to happen. They're coming too low. I feel like putting a beacon on my house. That's how low they are. And with that being said, I've got all kinds of information. Anybody wants to look at it. I appreciate the indulgence, Madam President. So,
Counselor, thank you for all your hard work. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Council McLaughlin?
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I also know, as I'm sure Councilor Matusky does, that Senator DiDomenico and Representative McGonigal have been speaking with Massport on a regular basis. Senator DiDomenico has brought the concerns directly to Mr. Glynn and has made it very known that this is unacceptable to the city of Everett and that this isn't going to be tolerated any longer. The senator has brought those concerns and they've heard them loud and clear. Hopefully things have changed, but I know our state delegation is working hard on behalf of the residents to try to join the efforts. My only question is, do you know, Councilman Matusky, you guys had a meeting set up previously? Did they just, again, blow off our city and not take it serious and not come? Or how did the meeting get postponed? Do you know? Because again, it's just another layer of disrespect to our community if they chose not to attend a meeting that was set up to discuss this very important matter. Sorry, Madam Chair. Madam Chairwoman. I was asking Councilman Matusky, because he's been involved in this from day one, whether or not he knew how there was a previous meeting set up and it was obviously canceled, how that occurred. Was it Massport just, again, slapping us in the face and not taking our meeting and not taking our concerns serious? Or how was that meeting dismantled? Because again, it's frustrating that they don't take our concerns serious and that we have continuously tried to push back and they continue to slap us in the face.
Okay,
time
so
after
would you
time.
like Council Matusky to answer
I would
that
like, if
question?
he knows, if he
Councilor
doesn't, that's
Matusky,
okay with me.
If you,
thank you, Matt. Yes, I want to thank you, Councilman McLaughlin. I know you take this serious personally because your neighborhood is affected. We did have a scheduled meeting for July 21st. I got a call from Mr. O'Donnell that said that there, for some reason, it had to be rescheduled. So we are waiting for another meeting with Massport, and it has to be agreed upon. I'm available at any time. I don't leave a 20-mile radius. But I'm looking forward. I don't think they really want me at Massport, to be honest with you, okay? I don't really think they want Wayne Matusky to tell them, and I have recordings also of what we go through in Everett here. But the truth of the matter is, Mr. O'Donnell, the mayor, have got some dialogue going on, and serious dialogue. And as you said, Councilman McLaughlin, I have spoken to Senator DiDomenico and Representative McGonigal, and both of those parties have expressed their disappointment with the increased traffic in this community. And I want to thank those two people at the State House level for, getting involved. And they know, they live here too. Everett's 3 square miles. And all they have to do, just for the record, Madam President, because it did occur in different sections of the city. All they got to do, they can push a button and move those planes anywhere they want. They can direct them anywhere. It is a scientific thing. They can put them on the other end, and all they have to do is press a button and shift it to another part of Everett, and then we've got more nightmare. I want to just end the problem, and let's hope this runway that they hard-topped is completed soon, and let's get back to a reasonable, where it was before, reasonable. I'm a reasonable person. We live near the airport. I'm not against tourism or anything like that in any way. I just want quality of life, and this is not part of it. I didn't sign up for planes coming over my house, and nobody else did either. And they're losing money on their property value. There was a home for sale, and people were going to buy it. They were there 3 times, and every time they came, the planes happened to be in the neighborhood. So it just goes on, and the people that were selling the house are very disappointed. But anyway, I want to thank Councilman McLaughlin for his suggestions and help in this matter. And I also want to thank Senator Domenico and Representative McGonigal, and anything more they can do is appreciated.
Thank you, Madam President. I wonder if the sponsor, since we have a letter going out there anyway, and they did miss a meeting, it's going to be rescheduled, I wonder if you would be agreeable to amend this piece, that in this communication, in addition to those dates, we could remind Massport that they rescheduled the meeting, canceled it rather, to be rescheduled for a later date, and that let them know that we're still waiting on that date. So I think that that'd be a good thing to do since we're sending it their way.
Thank you, Counselor. So we have a motion. What's the motion on the table?
The motion is to send a certified letter to the Massport director with these particular dates on it, August 17th, 19th, and 20th, after a period of quiet and relief that we got. Once the mayor got involved, we had another surge. And we also like to let them know that the mayor and the city council would like a meeting. I was prepared to go to Massport July 21st, and Mr. O'Donnell called me and said it had to be rescheduled. Whether it was Massport's fault or City Hall is really not the question, really, but we want to have a meeting with them and get this resolved to where we can get back to where we were.
I second the motion, Madam Chairwoman.
So to send a certified letter, and saying the dates of August 17th, 19th, and 20th, and also put in there that to reschedule the meeting that they never had prior. Is that correct? All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it.
Could we also get a copy of that letter to
I'll-
each council member in their mailbox?
I'll make sure I both email it and put it in your mailbox.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, we didn't actually, yep, we didn't make an action on those, so. We didn't take any action on them. We just ordered me to send the letter, which I'll do. We need action to either refer it back to sponsor, to refer it to another meeting, whatever you'd like to do.
So the motion would be to send a letter and refer it to the next meeting, Counselor, or would you like to refer it back to sponsor?
No, refer it to the next meeting.
Refer to the next.
Correct.
So the motion is to refer it to the next meeting?
Yes, correct. We have number 14 first.
So item number 14,
What would you like to do with that first?
Why don't we refer 14 back to sponsor, and then 16 we'll lay on the table and hopefully get a response back.
so I have a motion to refer item 14 back to sponsor. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. And on item 16, I have a motion to lay it over for the next meeting. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Item number 17 is an order offered by Councilor Anthony DePiero as president, in order to call for the preliminary election on Tuesday, September 19th, 2017.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action on the order. Please call the roll.
Councilor Capone.
Yes.
Councilor De La Sola.
Yes.
Councilor DeFlorio. Counselor Hanlon?
Yes.
Counselor Matusky?
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano?
Yes.
Counselor Sani?
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli? And President DePiero.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays. You have passed the order.
Item 18.
Item number 18, Mr. President, is an order offered by Counselor Anthony DePiero as president, an order calling for all polling places to be fitted and open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the City of Everett municipal election on Tuesday, November 7th, 2017. That needs to be amended. It is incorrect.
Counselor Hanlon? Do you have an amendment?
That needs to be amended. It is incorrect. It's supposed to state the municipal primary on September 19th, 2017.
September 19th, as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to amend the piece by replacing the date with September 19th, and for favorable action, please call the roll.
Counselor Capone.
Yes.
Counselor De La Sola.
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon.
Yes.
Counselor Matusky. Yes. Counselor McKinnon. Yes. Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano.
Yes.
Counselor Sani.
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli. And President DePiero.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays. You have passed the order.
Order has passed. Item 19.
Item number 19 is an order offered by Counselor Anthony DePiero as president, in order to fill the vacant position of Assistant City Clerk.
Favorable action on the order?
Second.
Motion made and seconded for favorable action. Please call the roll.
Is this being advertised?
Yes, just like the city clerk's position was, same process.
Counselor Capone?
Yes.
Counselor De La Sola?
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio?
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon?
Yes.
Counselor Matusky? Yes. Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin? Yes. Counselor Napolitano?
Yes.
Counselor Sani?
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli? And President DePiero.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Order has passed. Item 21.
Item number 21, Mr. President, is an order offered by Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Michael McLaughlin and Counselors John Hanlon to create a legislative code for city council officers.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Make a motion that we send this to the Legislative Affairs Committee.
Motion made and seconded to refer item 21 to the Legislative Affairs and Elections Committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item has been referred. Item number 22.
Item number 22, Mr. President, is an resolution offered by Counselor Michael McLaughlin to request the planning board at its next meeting to reconsider the Best Buy restrictions for the gate at intersection of Kelvin Street and Bizarro Lane to be reopened.
Counselor
Make a-
McLaughlin.
Make a motion to refer this to the planning board and ask for a response back in 45 days.
Motion was made and seconded to refer item 22 to the planning board with a request for a response in 45 days. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 24.
Yes, we did. Item number 24, Mr. President, is a resolution offered by Councilors Fred Capone, Michael McLaughlin, and Peter Napolitano that DCR consider a more permanent solution to the present arrangement at the intersection of Gladstone Street and Revere Beach Parkway, Route 16 West, in order to promote the safety of residents and school children in the area.
Counselor Capone.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sure we're all aware of the situation. It's Route 16 West at the base of Gladstone Street. At the end of that street is Whittier School. It's a one-way, do not enter. Unfortunately, a lot of cars continue to come off the Parkway and go up that side street, and because they're coming off of Route 16, it's a pretty rapid speed. The city has put a temporary plan in place. Got horses at the end of the street to try to restrict the flow of traffic up that way, but because it's DCR land that it's impacted, we really need them to come up with a more permanent solution, whether it be curbing is extended, somehow making it extremely inconvenient to take that right from Route 16, but that's where it has to go. We've done all we can at the local level. The horses aren't going to work in bad weather, inclement weather, so we've been fortunate enough that we haven't had to deal with that yet. We've got the school year coming up now, so we really need to get on that. So I'd like to refer this piece over to DCR, asking for a response by a second meeting in September.
Motion was made and seconded. On the motion, Counselor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I echo the comments of Councilor Capone. My only statement is that speaking with Senator DiDomenico, that the DCR is actually looking for the Everett Traffic Commission to come up with some sort of suggestion, and they'll be more than happy to work with the city. But because the traffic flow is on Gladstone Street, it's a city street, so they want the recommendation from the Everett Traffic Commission of what they would like to see, whether it's a bump out on one side or the other, because of fire trucks being able to make a turn on or off of the parkway. So they're looking for the Everett Traffic Commission to give a recommendation to them, and then they will be more than happy to go forward and implement something, but they don't want to be the ones to make the recommendation because the traffic flow is on Gladstone Street, which is the local street. But speaking with the school administration just today, they are again concerned. There was several close calls last year on Gladstone Street of children crossing Gladstone Street, and cars was speeding up the wrong way on Gladstone Street, and several close calls last year with young kids crossing the street. So the school administration is concerned, and I echo my comments again of Councilor Capone to try to get a response, hopefully rather sooner than later. Thank you.
So I'll rescind my motion with regard to DCR and refer to Traffic Commission.
Motion made and seconded. On the motion, Councilor DeFlorio.
Well, where school is starting, and this is very important, and if cars are speeding up there, maybe it would be a good idea to put a police officer there, just for the hours of, like, say, 7:30 to 8:30 and 2 to 2:30. If we could make sure that nobody's speeding up that street. You do have children going there, and by the time the traffic commission meets, and by the time it goes to the state, there could be another school year gone.
It's going to be a while.
So I believe for safety reasons, maybe they should consider putting a police officer there. Thank you.
So refer to Traffic and refer to Police Chief.
Motion made and seconded to refer item 24 to the Traffic Commission and the Chief of Police. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Councilors, when were you looking for a response back?
Second meeting in September, I think.
Well, actually, since it's internal, first meeting in September.
First meeting in September.
But on the motion, I'm sorry, Council, Mr. President.
Motion's already been passed, but go ahead, Councilor.
When is the Traffic Commission back in session? That will determine when we're able to get a response back from them.
Is it third?
Don't know
Is it
that
the third
answer.
week?
Yeah, so maybe
Yeah,
9:25
so you know,
would be better.
so what we'll do is send it to the Traffic Commission, ask for a response back from the chief but for the first meeting in September, what they think they might be able to implement to safeguard the children for those morning hours, and then we'll get a response back from the Traffic Commission at our second meeting.
Got that, Clerk?
I do.
Last item on the agenda is item number 25.
Item number 25, Mr. President, is a resolution offered by Councilor Michael McLaughlin that the Pioneer Charter School representatives appear at the next City Council's Committee on Community and Business Development meeting to discuss the recently approved plans by the Planning Board to build a school at 7-9 Plymouth Street, and to have the representatives from the administration at the committee meeting.
Mr. President, on the motion. I am utterly surprised to see that the Pioneer Charter School wants to put 500 children at the bottom of Bizarro Lane, at the old Halifax building that's at the bottom of Bizarro Lane. There's one way in and one way out, which is Bizarro Lane, because you can't cut through the streets of the village to get to that facility. We need to really think about how this is going to work. Unfortunately, they are exempt from local zoning laws because of an amendment called the Dover Amendment, which I've studied. They're excluded from zoning, but what they're not excluded from is for us to be able to put some regulations before them that are reasonable for public safety and public concerns in the neighborhood. So that's why I've put this piece on the calendar and asked. I'm sorry.
I would just request, as a sponsor, if you wouldn't mind amending it and adding me to the piece. as the
I was
sponsor.
gonna offer any of my colleagues that want to go on this. I think it's really detrimental to the village. And if
Council as whole.
Council will amend this to put the entire city council on this resolution and refer to committee. Thank you.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to amend the item by adding the entire body and refer it to the next Committee on Community and Business Development. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion made and
But
seconded to
before we
adjourn.
do-
Before that, I want to wish Councilor Simonelli a very happy birthday. It was yesterday,
Hey.
our colleague.
All right,
Happy
Simi.
birthday, Sim. Councilor
Point of
Capone?
personal privilege, is this our first official meeting as our city clerk?
Clerk of the
Excellent
Council,
job,
yes.
Congratulations to our clerk.
Thank you, councilors.
All those
Appreciate
in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.